अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशेर् यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि अन्तर्यश्च बहिर्विदुदतिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन् पश्यन् विश्वम् अपीतं मुल्लसति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः. Namo Ramanaya. This Arunachala Pancha Rathnam is composed by Bhagavan, of course. It is a very famous, popular song in ashramam. A lot of people chant it in Tamil especially, and in Sanskrit too. Bhagavan, when he was in school or after he came to Tiruvannamalai, never had anything called an education or whatever in Sanskrit. He had nothing. He had no idea about Sanskrit or whatever. In fact, even when he was in Madurai, he had not studied any great philosophical, poetical, or any work like that at all. He was a playful lad, always playing games and always with his small team of friends and always outside the house in the ground or whatever. That was his favorite pastime. That is how he was spending time. And he had read what he happened once. A relative of his happened to came to their house in Madurai, and while they left, they had left a copy of Periya Puranam, the life of 63 saints of Saiva, of our 63 Nayanmar, as we call the 63 Nayanmar's life, was there. So Bhagavan glanced the book and quickly read the book. He was very interested in the content and he read the book. Apart from that, the only other work, anything he has read is Bible. He was studying in a Christian missionary school, Scott Middle School in Madurai. Even now the school is functioning and there is a classroom dedicated to Bhagavan where he used to sit and study, learn his classes. So he had studied a little bit of Bible. Barring this, Bhagavan never studied anything at all for that matter. And he has never learned any language. He knew only Tamil and English that was prevalent while he was studying up to class 8. He has studied only till that because when he was 16, he already started his journey to Tiruvannamalai. So he had no initiation into Sanskrit in any way, but he had a very deep and intuitive understanding of the language in such a way that as early as 1903, 1904, in 1904, he translated the entire Viveka Chudamani of Adi Shankaracharya, which is a crowning jewel of one of his crowning jewel of Adi Shankaracharya's compositions, and it was in chase language, obviously. And Bhagavan was able to translate that into Tamil prose without any problem, even interpreting very untold meanings that are there, that were lying hidden in Viveka Chudamani. So, even though he had not studied Sanskrit formally or in any way for that matter, he was able to understand the meaning very clearly and give a complete translation, a complete translation in the sense without leaving even a single point or even highlighting the points that were not very explicitly told. He was able to do that. And one day in the year 1917, a devotee came to Bhagavan and requested Bhagavan to compose some song in a Sanskrit meter called Arya Giti, also known as Arya Vratta meter. Arya Vratta is the name of the meter, popularly called as Arya Giti. And in general, this Arya Giti is considered as one of the most difficult Sanskrit meters. Even people who are very, very, very well versed in Sanskrit, generally struggle to compose in that meter. And also, this meters in Sanskrit, as we have seen one time before, I do not know when, but nevertheless, it is, it is like the construct, that is the structure in which the Sanskrit poetries are written. Chandas, also called as Chandas. There are popular chandas like Gayatri chandas, like this Gayatri mantra we have is nothing but a chandas, because it came to be known as Gayatri mantra because it was written in the chandas called Gayatri. Like that, we have Usnik Chandas, we have Anushtup Chandas, we have Trishtup Chandas, we have Jagati and Anushtup is very famous. Anushtup is the most common of the Chandas. Now, most of the works, like both Mahabharata and Ramayana, they are all written in Anushtup Chanda. That's fairly easy. Most people understand. Bhagavad Gita is obviously part of Mahabharata, and it is also part of Anushtup Chandas only. But Bhagavan was asked to compose a song in this Aryavrata meter, Arya Giti meter. And Bhagavan sat back and he was able to compose. He composed a song starting with the words Karuna Purna Sudabde, and he gave it to this person. And this went into the hands of Kavya Kanta Ganapati Muni, who was the highest scholar in Sanskrit in those days. He was the best Sanskrit scholar that is known. He can compose poems in any meter. Just you ask him, immediately he will compose. He's that kind of they call him Ashutoshi Kavi. He just does not need any planning or any thinking. The poetries will flow to him. And he happened to see this composition, and he immediately came and said, "This is exact. Nobody can. This is not a human effort. Nobody can write this. This is exactly like how the Vedic rishis can write or used to write." Absolutely, because he was very thorough. He was Kavya Kanta Ganapati. He was popularly called as Naina, out of affection by all in ashram, including Bhagavan. Always used to call him Naina only. So Naina was thrilled and wonderstruck. But how is it possible for such a standard without somebody who is not even picked up? Bhagavan, after the advent of Naina into ashramam, Bhagavan just got a little bit of knowledge of Sanskrit through Bhagavan through Naina by means of chatting with him about some subject in Sanskrit, and picked up a little bit of grammar. Beyond that, nothing. Beyond that, he did not know anything. And Naina used to say that he has written in almost all chandas, but he said he used to generally struggle with the Arya Giti meter. But Bhagavan seems to have just, the moment whoever that person, he asked Bhagavan, immediately he sat back and he wrote and he gave. And based on this, Naina got very excited. He went to Bhagavan, he requested Bhagavan to compose one more song in the same meter. Bhagavan generally never say no to anything, and so he started writing the second song immediately. Twayi Arunachala Sarvam. Starting with the second song, starting with the words Twayi Arunachala Sarvam, and gave it to Naina. Naina, seeing this, was even more flowing with gratefulness, happiness, and he requested Bhagavan to compose 3 more to make a Panchakam, to complete a Panchakam. He requested this time. The first 2 times, nobody asked Bhagavan to write on what they want the content to be and all that. In most of the cases, when such a request is put to Bhagavan, the only thing he will write about is I. Nothing else. He will not bother to write about anything. The I. That is all. He will always write about I. And even when he says Arunachala, he is only meaning to the I. Arunachala shining in the heart as I. So he will never write anything. But in this time, when Naina requested Bhagavan to compose 3 more songs, he requested a specific theme. He wanted a specific theme. He wanted 3 songs, one in Jnana Yoga Marga, one song in Raja Yoga Marga, and one in Bhakti and Karma Yoga put together. He wanted in this fashion, and Bhagavan, yes, immediately composed, and this became known as Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. And then Another devotee by name Daivarata, who happened to see all this, wrote a standalone line in Aryagiti meter called Srimat Ramana Maharshe. That is praising or talking about how what this Aryagiti meter composition called Arunachala Pancha Rathnam is nothing but pure gem, and it is nothing short of Upanishad. He declared in that song. Later on, I think after 5 years or so, in the year 1923, a devotee by name Ayya Swami came to Bhagavan, and Ayya Swami requested Bhagavan to translate this Pancharatnam into Tamil. So this Ayya Swami Pillai made Bhagavan compose it into Tamil. Bhagavan also started composing it on, and he used his famous meter called Venpa to compose this 5 songs in Tamil. And he also translated the same song written by Daivarata, the last concluding song about Arunachala Pancha Rathnam, and he translated that also in Tamil. This is very, very famous composition. Whoever is attending the Tamil Parayanam, in the habit of attending Tamil Parayanam in ashram, will immediately recognize this song. At the end of every day's Parayanam, this song will be sung. அருள் நிறைவான அமுதக்கடலே, அருள் நிறைவான அமுதக்கடலே, விரி கதிரால் யாவும் விழுங்கும் அருணகிரி பரமாத்மாவே, கிளருள பூனன்றாய் விரிபருதியாக விளங்கு. This 5 songs for last in the end. அருணகிரி ரமணன் ஆரியத்தில் கண்ட அருமறையந்த கருத்தே ஆகும், அருணாச்சல பஞ்சகமணியை தன் தமிழ் வெண்பாவால் உலகு கழித்தான் உவந்து. So this is a very almost, this is a chorus. This everybody, male, female, all together they sing this song. Not as a one line this side and one line that side. Everybody chants this song, Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. It became so famous in Bhagavan's right from Bhagavan's day. It used to be, everybody used to sing it at the end of every day's the daily Parayanam. That will be followed by this Haryadi Idara Jiva Ragavarija Guhayil. We know that song. And the day's thing will be sung. Vali Vali Ramana Mahaguru, Vali Vali Aruna Mahagiri, Vali Venkatan Vaichulum Padagal, Vali Udithor Andargal Vali. That will be sung. This is every day this song was sung. Similarly, in the morning, whoever has had the opportunity to attend the Pal Puja, the milk offering thing, this Arunachala Pancha Rathnam is chanted in Sanskrit immediately after Chatvarimshat is chanted. And after that, the morning, the milk offering is given to Bhagavan, and the Deevartana, the Aarti will take place. So this is very, very, it's a very, very popular with all devotees of Bhagavan, and this is how the entire Arunachala Pancha Rathnam came about, based on the request from Naina to compose. Some unknown person wanted a song in Aryagiti meter, Aryavrata meter, and Bhagavan composed, which was taken by Naina, and asked Bhagavan to compose more, and finally he got Bhagavan to compose 5 songs, the Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. So this is the background. With this, we will go through all the 5 songs and see what they mean, how it was composed. I mean, we know how it was composed, what they actually mean. We'll sing. And in the evening, normally we have this evening chanting sessions. That also we'll be singing this, all the 5 slowly and elaborately. Each one will have the like every day we'll sing. Everyone will sing who is participating. Okay, so I'll sing the Pancharatnam. I'll sing the Pancharatnam, all the 5 songs once, before we go into the start studying the meaning of each song. Arunachala Namo Ramanaya. Karuna Purna Sudabdhe Kabalita Ghana Vishwarupa Kiranavalya Arunachala Paramatman Aruno Bhava Chitta Kanja Sudikasaya Tvai Arunachala Sarvam Bhutva Stitva Pralinameda Chitram Hridyahamityatmataya Nrityasiboste Vadanti Hridayam Nama Aham iti kuta ayati yanvishyanta pravishtayatyamaladiya avagamyasvam rupam shamyatyarunachalatvayi nadivabdhau tekva vishayam bahyam ruddha-pranena ruddha-manasam tasvam ध्यायन् पश्यति योगी धीतितिमरुणाचलत्वयि महीयन्ते त्वयि अर्पितमनसा त्वां पश्यन् सर्वं तवाकृहृतया सततं भजतेरन्यप्रीत्या सजयत्यरुणाचलत्वयि सुखे मग्नः Srimad Ramana Maharsher Darshanamarunachalasya Devagira Panchakamarya Gitau Ratnam Tvidam Upanishadam Hi. This is the Arunachala Pancha Rathnam in Sanskrit. It's a lilting song. Everybody, whoever hears the song, will feel like participating, learning and singing this song. It's profused with beauty and depth of meaning. So, the first song is Arunachala Karuna Purna Sudabdhe. He starts with the words Karuna Apurna Sudabdhe. So, Karuna means grace. Apurna is overflowing or overwhelming, fullness of grace. Apurna. Purnam, we say, the same word is in a technical way, it is called Apurna. Karuna, Apurna, Sudha. Sudha is ambrosia, that is the honey, the great ambrosia, the nectar that we talk about. That is Sudha. Abdhe. Abdhe is ocean. So, Arunachala, the ocean of overflowing grace of nectar or ambrosia. Is the first line how it starts. Karuna Apurna Sudha Abdhe Kabalita. Kabalita means is swallowed by. Swallowing, the process of swallowing is Kabalita. Kabalita Ghana. Ghana is solid. Ghanam. It's Kabalita Ghana. Vishwa, universe. Rupa, the form of universe. Kabalita Ghana. Vishwa Rupa Kirana. Kirana is the rays of sun. Like that, the rays that come out is called Kirana. Avalya. Avalya is series. Just like how we say Deepa Avali, Deepavali, Deepa Avali, the series of lines. So Avali means series. So Kirana Avalya, Arunachala Paramatman. Arunachala, the supreme being, the nature of self. Arunachala Paramatman, Aruna Bhava Chitta Kanja Suvikasaya. So, Aruna, sun, Bhava is the, like the sun, Chitta, the mind, Kanja is lotus, the flower lotus, Su is good, auspiciousness, Vikasaya is for blooming, the blooming of the flower, Vikasa. Okay, line is Arunachala Paramatman Aruno Bhava Chitta Kanja Suvikasaya. So the meaning of the entire verse we'll see. This meter is as we recounted, this is how a Aryavrata meter will look like. And the meaning is, oh, ocean of ambrosia, the overflowing fullness of grace. Now, Bhagavan is addressing Arunachala. Arunachala is I, the self. Oh, ocean of ambrosia, the overflowing fullness of grace. Oh, Arunachala, Supreme Spirit, by whose series of rays the solid form of earth or world or universe is swallowed, and be the sun for the complete blossoming of my mind, lotus. The purport is, normally Arunachala is here talked like Arunachala swallows the entire universe by his grace. This is the state in which one is when one reaches the Supreme Self. The world is gone. The world is swallowed. That is why in Nanar, Bhagavan used to say, when the world appears, the self won't appear. When the self shines forth, the world won't appear. So here, now, Bhagavan is requesting Arunachala that just like Arunachala, how with all your grace, completely swallow up the world, you help my heart, lotus, to bloom, and in such a way that I also become one with the self, is the request put by Bhagavan to Arunachala. The thing is, it is like this. See, you see the world only with the help of reflected light of the consciousness, Chit Abhasa. When the pure consciousness is shining forth, it is too bright for anybody to see the world alone, because it's only consciousness that is going to be there. But the one's heart, lotus, is, but here in this case, Bhagavan, when Bhagavan seeks Arunachala, he says, my heart, lotus, is already due to steady bhakti blooming. I mean, it's about to bloom, but it's not yet blooming. It is bulged. It is not like completely, shrunken or something, or tightly held. It is bloom. It is attempting to bloom. It is attempting to blossom. So it is bulging. But unfortunately, the process of blooming is not getting complete. Arunachala, with all your grace, you ensure that this lotus, come, pour your grace on me, and so that the lotus opens up and I merge with the self. Let us say you are in a tent watching a movie picture, a motion picture, and there is a projector. The tent creates the darkness, and the projector creates the light, arc of light from within, and the entire the series of film is projected before the lens, and through the lens it is projected on a screen, magnified, and we are seeing the film. Screen after scene we are able to see. Suppose a wild storm suddenly takes place, wind, and blows the tent away. At that time, what happens? No picture is seen at all, because the sun's rays is effulgent now, and the light produced by this projector is of no use, because it is swallowed. The sun's rays is swallowing up the light, the small reflected light given by the projector. So nothing is seen. This is exactly how the projector works. The projector is there. It shines through the light that is borrowed. That light is known as you can equate it. That light is your Atman, the light that comes from Atman, and you have a series of picture that is projected in front of a lens. The series of picture is nothing but the vasanas we have in store for years, for janmas and janmas and janmas together. We have vasanas. And these vasanas, with the help of indriyas, mind, and other things, get projected and thrown out as the world that is seen in front of us. This is the Vedantic explanation of how world appears, and Bhagavan has used this example very clearly in one of the songs in Arunachala Ashtakam. In Ashtakam, that one song very clearly he elaborates through the light that's shining in the Atman. It is all the vasanas get kindled from within, and they are magnified by upati is called mind and senses, and with all that they are thrown out, and the senses see them as the universe existing outside. In truth, they are all inside us. They are all a projection from inside. They are never outside. Now, coming back to the subject in hand, just like how the tent was blown out, and the sun's rays swallowed, when the artificial sun, which is shining based on the grace of Arunachala, can swallow the entire picture, cannot Arunachala's grace swallow the entire world? What is the big, there's no surprise. That is Arunachala because he is the one who creates everything for us. So, this like the Bhagavan says, just like how this brilliance of Arunachala's rays, which is nectarine in all sense, swallows up the entire world, like that Arunachala, I also should be able to achieve that status, but I am almost there through steady practice of bhakti for over a period of time. And now my heart is ready, but it's still not, the process is not getting completed. I'm still struggling. Please be graceful enough to me also, Arunachala, and help the already bulging heart lotus to completely open up. And so that what happens? It gives up the reflected light called Chidabhasa, also known as mind. The mind is getting swallowed or it falls back on the source. So help me to go to the source, which is nothing but the process of self-realization, which is talked about in many techniques. Who am I is what Bhagavan used to teach us. So this is the first song composed by Bhagavan when he was requested by someone to compose something in Aryavarta meter. But as I told you, Bhagavan was not asked to compose anything, but you ask Bhagavan, he will immediately do this only. You give somebody gives a new pen to Bhagavan, the only thing he will write is Arunachala. All this, everything, for him, his entire thought process, or so to speak, thought process is not necessarily the word that we should be using when it comes to Bhagavan. But this is how for Bhagavan, it was Arunachala, which is high. That is what, everything he is like that only. So this is the first song. I'll sing the first song one more time before we go to the next one. The first song is Karuna Purna Sudabdhe Kabalita Ghana Vishwarupa Kiranavalya Arunachala Paramatman Aruno Bhavachitta Kanja Subikasaya. The first song of Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. In fact, I just like how I gave the meaning for word meaning. So, after seeing the first sloka of Arunachala Pancha Rathnam, as I was also planning yesterday, I am all the word for word meaning, like what Karuna means, what Apurna means, what Sudha means, and all that. I'm trying to put it in the form of a tabulation, and so that you can have it as a breakup one to learn the chanting. Also, it will be easy, and it can be broken up also. And you can also know the meaning. So I'll put it in form of a small tabulation and share it. I'm planning to do it in the afternoon before the evening class. I'll have it in place. Okay. So Karuna Apurna Sudabde Kabalita Gana Vishwarupa Kirana Valya Arunachala Paramatman Aruno Bhava Chitta Kanja Sudikasaya. It rolls on your tongue. Once you try that, you will start understanding. You will just fall in love with it. All you have to do is just practice it a little bit. It's so beautiful. And we have seen the meaning of the song, first song. So we'll go to the second one. Tvai Arunachala Sarvam Bhutva Stitva Pralina Meda Chitram Hrid Ayam Ityatmataya Nritya Sivoste Vadanti Hrudayam Nama. So, this song means Tvai is in you. Arunachala, Tvai Arunachala Sarvam. Tvai is in you, O Arunachala, Sarvam, all. Bhutva, having come to existence. Stitva, being sustained. Pralinam, being destroyed. Etat, this. Chitram, picture. Meaning, Arunachala, it is only on you as the background or substratum, which is, what is that in terms of, in technical Vedantic terms? It is nothing but Brahman. That A technical person would use the term Brahman. Here Bhagavan uses the term Arunachala for that, with that in mind. So, Arunachala, it is in you where the whole Sarvam, all the world that we think of, that we know of, comes into existence, rises up, stays, it's sustained by you, and Pralinam, it is withdrawn by you. So, just like how Shiva does the act of creation, sustenance, destruction. Apart from the other two functions of Shiva, which is veiling and grace. So, these three aspects are the one that is needed for the world picture to come in. So, here Bhagavan says, you, in you, it is all in you. Arunachala, the mighty hill of Arunachala, the Atman called Arunachala, the Parabrahman called Arunachala, everything. Arunachala, you can take it in that sense. So, it is in Arunachala, Twayi, in you, O Arunachala, Sarvam, all, Bhutva, having come into existence, Stitva, having been sustained, Pralinam, is destroyed, Etat, this Chitram, picture. Hridi, in the heart, I am, I. Iti, as. Krit, I am. Kriti, I. Krit, I am. So he says, in the heart, as I am, Atmaya. Kritva, Krit, Bhutva, Stitva, Pralina, Chitram, Krit, I am, Mityatmataya. Krit, I am, iti, Atmayata. Atmayata is representing self. So, this self is only from the heart. It is all shining in the heart. Nrityasi, as heart, Nrityasi boste. Nrityasi means you dance. Who dances? Arunachala. Bo. Bo is a word that we use as a form of expression to address Arunachala. Like we say, Bho, Sambho, Shiva Sambho, Swayambho, and all that. So this Bho is an expression to represent Shiva. In this case, the Arunachala mentioned in the first line. Twayi Arunachala Sarvam. So this Arunachala dances in the heart. And since Bho is a form of expression as we told, Boste to you, Vadante. They say, Hridayam, heart Nama. So what the whole thing means like this. We were seeing the word for word meaning. O Arunachala, in you, all this picture of world comes into existence, is sustained and is destroyed. You dance in the heart as self of all, as the spirit called I. And hence, they say, heart is your name. Your name itself is heart. So we have seen in a few occasions before, and also on one of the exclusive posts that I made on the meaning of the term called heart. This heart, generally people understand it very differently. The newcomers to Vedanta Marga and to Bhagavan will know heart to be a physiological organ located on the left side of the chest. The one that pumps the blood and other things. That heart obviously cannot be the self or the I, because it is nothing but made of blood and flesh. It is not sentient, it's got no sentience in it at all. It is totally insentient piece of flesh. How can that insentient piece of flesh give you the feeling called I? Only a chit vastu can shine. A jada vastu cannot shine. Like you have a log of wood in front of you. That wood cannot shine on its own. It cannot come and announce, I am wood. Your mind says it is wood. So light of your mind is focused on that wood, piece of wood, and then the shining takes place. Similarly, Arunachala is the one shining as the heart, it is said. So this heart, this physiological organ cannot be heart. And Bhagavan on few occasions has given explanation that heart is on the right side of the chest, 2 digits to the right of the chest is heart. And when somebody asked for pramana, what is a pramana? Bhagavan says it's a natural feeling that comes in me, and I don't think a pramana is needed. It's an experience. He also quoted a couple of Upanishads, like I think Sita Upanishad was quoted, where it is mentioned that heart is on the right side of the chest. And he quoted couple of works in Malayalam literature as a proof for this. But he said, by default, all of us, when we point we point to the mostly by you can start watching it, you will know, to the right side of the chest and never to the left side of the chest. We always, by default, we point to the right side of the chest. So you can consider that this is a meaning given by Bhagavan only for those people who are very strongly oriented into Raja Yoga Marga. And in those days, in early years of Bhagavan, a lot of people came who have studied all the books written by Swami Vivekananda and a lot of other Raja Yoga books. For them, they somehow wanted everything. Body is the base for them. Within the body, where is this feeling called I? Or where is heart? All this, their question. So Bhagavan had to give this explanation. So you can use it as an intermittent explanation. But ultimately, Bhagavan has made it for people who did not have such baggages. Bhagavan gave the right meaning of heart, saying that the self is the heart. Heart is not something that is inside the body. The body and the entire universe is in the heart. So Arunachala, in form of the self, Parabrahman, in form of Brahman, is nothing but the self. Is nothing but the heart. So, because Arunachala shines as the eye in every heart, in everybody, the name of Arunachala itself is heart. So it says in the second, since you dance in the recess of the heart as eye, your name is itself heart. Nrityasi boste vadanti kridayam nama. Vadanti is the people say, because you are shining forth, you are the heart. So, Arunachala is the one that rises up and creates the universe, the entire, the Sarvam, Twayi, Arunachala Sarvam. The entire world is created by Arunachala. The entire world in this, whenever we use the word world, it's loosely term. You can think as universe. Again, universe, because that's according to science and according to our understanding, it is a larger conglomeration. So we say universe. So Arunachala is the one that creates the entire universe and sustains, ensures that the universe is running properly. He is doing the sustenance, and at the right time, he is the one who creates the destruction of the universe. You can see it in many different ways. You can see the avasthas. In the avasthas, in the Jagra and Swapna avastha, both considered together, and where all the things are created and everything is shining forth through our dim light. Like the first sloka we saw, the light of Chit Abhasa. The Chitabhasa light ensures that everything is shining forth. That is done only because there is the grace of Arunachala in every one of us in form of I. Everybody knows that there is a feeling called I. That I is the rising I. Even if it is a rising I, that is also happening only because of the grace of Arunachala. It is only because of this rising I, the mind, also known as mind, that we are able to see the world. So it's Arunachala that is dancing in the recess of our heart, makes us, through his grace, this feeling of I be present. And since it is Arunachala, Arunachala himself is called as the heart. So this is the actual meaning of the term heart. Nothing else. We don't need to know heart as anything else. Arunachala is heart. Arunachala as our own self. As the self is the heart. So Bhagavan makes that in the second statement. Oh, Red Hill, all this, which is a picture, rises, stands, and subsides only in you. Everything is happening only in Arunachala. Since you dance eternally, in the heart as consciousness I, the real self, those who know the truth, the jnanis, say your name itself is heart. Hridayam. Hridayam is a split of two words, is a combination of two words called Hrit and Ayam. Ayam is I, Hrit is the heart. So you yourself are the heart, is told in this second sloka. Tvai Arunachala Sarvam Bhutva Stitva Pralinameda Chitram Hrit Ayamitvatmataya Nrityasiboste Vadanti Hridayam Nama is the second song. So, in the first song, Bhagavan started with saying that Arunachala, please be graceful enough to shine, to share all your ambrosia, to pour all your nectar on me, and through that grace, help my the already trying to blossom heart lotus bloom fully. So first, Arunachala's grace, because of the shining as eye, makes the heart lotus, which is completely, inward, which is shrunk, tightly packed, to slowly loosen up a little initially through bhakti. This is the bhakti marga. Through bhakti marga, what happens? The maturity of bhakti ensures that the heart sufficiently bloats, grows in size. But that is not. This is what in the Upanishad Saram also we saw. The bhakti marga, when you do such bhakti, what happens? Your chitta sutti increases. But we also saw on its own, it cannot help the lotus bloom fully. It is preparing the lotus. So in our day-to-day life, with the help of bhakti, we ensure that our heart becomes pure to the extent needed for the grace to further work on it. So the grace now, for this pure heart, the grace ensures that and Bhagavan prays to Arunachala, now that my heart is reasonably ready, please ensure that my heart lotus blooms fully. And I merge with the self. And I go to the state of Manonasha. And in the second song, he says, Arunachala, again, note, these two songs had no request from anyone. Bhagavan was asked to write and he wrote. He wrote about Arunachala, he wrote about heart. As much as he gave the requested Arunachala to help the heart lotus bloom, he in this song says, your name is heart. That heart lotus or whatever I am talking about is nothing but Arunachala. Arunachala is everything. How? In Arunachala only the whole universe appears, sustained, and it's withdrawn. As we saw, we were trying to recollect, in Jagrata and Swapna, all this activity takes place, and in Sushupti, everything goes off. That is the pralinam that we are talking about here, the pralaya that takes place. We are able to see that the cycle every day on our life. We wake up in the morning, that's creation. We do all our activity, that is sustenance, and we are completely destroyed, taken inward when the mind stops for when we go to deep sleep, Sushupti, and that is pralinam, that is destruction. And this is happening in the cosmic cycle also. As we see, the world comes forth because of the grace of Arunachala, and people go about doing their work in the world. It's there for so many, according to Vedantic Shastra, there are so many eons and eons and eons together. There's some mind-boggling number is given in our Shastras to understand what is a Kalpa, what is a Yuga, what is a Kalpa and all that. I mean, it's a big science in itself. And Paramacharya of Kanchi has given in his book called Daivattin Kural, has written very elaborately about what each one constitutes, and it can easily blow your mind. I mean, when big scientists, cosmologists like Carl Sagan, they came to the one who produced Cosmos and all that, which were very popular back in the 80s. When he was such a big scientist, he came to Dharasuram. There's a small video he made. He came to this temple called Dharasuram in near Kumbakonam. He spent a lot of time in the temple. And he said, no, it's not possible to understand the Vedic way of representing the entire creation cosmic cycle. Their numbers they are talking about is beyond comprehension. Suddenly they'll bring in a concept of the one Brahma's night. Brahma is the creator, Brahma, the Brahmaji, Brahma's night. We won't be, he says, we won't be able to understand. It is all it can only be represented. And he said, the representation is exactly what is known as the idol of Nataraja that we have in our temples. It exactly represents, he says, the cosmology that we are all as scientists trying to really, really deeply understand. But everything the ancient rishis, just in form of one idol, has given the entire concept of cosmos, the cosmology has been described. So, such is the creation, the destruction, or the creation, sustenance, and destruction that we are talking about in the song also. Bhutva, Stitva, Pralinam. So Arunachala is the one who does all that. And since Arunachala is always shining in our heart, is dancing, he uses the word Nritya. Bhagavan, Arunachala, Nrityaya, Nrityasi Boste Vadanti. Boste, Bo is the explanation I told you. Arunachala, you are the one who are dancing in everyone's heart. As I, so say Jivan Mukta Purushas, like the Jnanis. That is why your name itself is heart, is declared in this second sloka by Bhagavan. And when you go into the third sloka, Bhagavan uses, Bhagavan was asked by Kavya Katakadapati Muni, Nayana, to compose 3 songs, one detailing the Jnana Yoga Marga, and one detailing the Raja Yoga Marga, and one detailing the Karma and Bhakti Yoga Marga. Accordingly, Bhagavan set forth to write the third song of Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. Aham iti kuta ayati tyanvishyanta pravishtayathyamaladhiya avagamya svam rupam samyatyarunachala tvaina divabdhau is the third song. Aham iti kuta ayati iti. Aham is I, iti as kuta. Aham iti kuta. Kuta is where, from, the place from where, from where. Ayati, ayati is, does it come? From where does it come? What comes? Thus. Anvishya. Anvishya is having sought. Once you catch hold of that concept of where it comes, anta, within, pravishtaya, having entered, pravisham, we say, pravishya, having entered, ati, very, amala, blemishless, beautiful, clean, pure, pristine. So amala, diya, by the mind, the light of the mind, avagam, having known, swam, one's own, rupam, form, samyati, become still. Arunachala, twayi, in you, nadi, river, iva, like abdav, in the ocean. So we had to see the word split meaning, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I will also make my tabulation in place and I will share it with you, so that each word, every single word is so beautifully not chosen by Bhagavan, it just came so beautifully to Bhagavan. And that is why we are able to enjoy the split meaning of this, especially Sanskrit is so beautiful. When we start splitting it like this, we can enjoy it so much. But the continuous flow is also equally beautiful. Aham iti kuta ayati tenvishyanta pravishtayatyam aladiya avagamya svam rupam samyat tarunachala twayi nadi vabdhav. Are you able to appreciate the beauty? That is everything. It just rolls. It just rolls. You want to see. You want to see. So in this song he says, Arunachala, by a very blemishless mind, amala mind, amala, by a very blemishless mind, having sought this. What is sought? From where does I come from? From where does it come as I? Where does the shining come as I? Having entered within and having known one's own form, one becomes still like you. And this still is is exemplified by like how when a river is merged into a sea, into an ocean, it loses its characteristic as river. It cannot be called as a river anymore. And it becomes still because we don't even know the existence of river, so it is still. So Bhagavan teaches the full Jnana Yoga Marga in this particular song. How? We'll see. So, in the heart, by a very blemishless mind, we have to catch hold of. This is the process Bhagavan taught called Who Am I? The technique of Who Am I is being introduced by Bhagavan in this sloka. He has not used the technical word of Who Am I or whatever, but this is what we have been seeing in all the, especially in sloka 16 to 20 of Upadesasaram. You have to turn introvert. You have to go inward. You have to give up external thoughts, go inward, and that is when your mind becomes, the mind that is doing the vichara becomes blemishless. It eagerly, willingly participates in the process, whether or not it knows it is good, it is going to die. It is ready now to commit the suicide. It's ready to put its head on the line. It's coming because it has become pure. And it also has understood, yes, I have to necessarily go in order for greater things to happen. So I have to sacrifice the small rising ego. This mind has to go. So Bhagavan in this sloka, he says, once we have such a blemishless mind, how is the blemishless mind achieved? In the previous song also we saw it can be achieved through puja. The heart will be ready to bloom. We will be bulging with joy. This bulging state of the lotus, heart lotus, is what is known as the blemishless mind here. It has to come to that state. It can be brought to that state by breath control also, which we will see in the next song. It can be brought about by bhakti. It can be brought about by nishkamya karma. It can be brought about by all the methods, the initial methods that was taught in the first 15 slokas of Upadesasaram. Anyone can be adapted and it can come to the blemishless state. Now, we have the heart or the mind is become blemishless now. With the help of that blemishless mind, what am I seeking? I go about seeking. I have this feeling called I. I know where, but I do not know where does this feeling called I emanate from, originate from. This is the Bhagavan's direct path that we have been seeing in many sessions before. So I am going to investigate with the help of this blemishless mind. So Amalatma. So I'm going to use this blemishless mind to investigate, and when I investigate keenly, what I do, I drop off all the, because of the purity of the mind, it is not going to consider thinking of anything external. It has already discarded the externalities. Now with keen attention, it focuses on the feeling called I. So when you stare at this blankly, from a point blank range, when you stare at the feeling called I cannot survive the attack. It's too powerful for I, because this is what is known as self-attention. The best way of using the technique of Atma Vichara is, there is no one doing Vichara on another. It is self-attention, staying focused on yourself, on your feeling of I. Who is staying focused on the feeling of I? The I itself. That is the mind focusing on its own self, on its own nature, as mind. So when that happens, what happens? It is akin to you in dim light. You stare at the rope which is appearing like a snake. Now, what do? You intensely pay your attention, undivided concentration, without any lapse on the appearance called snake. Slowly, some conviction comes into you. This cannot be snake. I'm attentive enough to know I'm not seeing a snake here. It can only be a rope. It was only by my mistake, due to a dim light, a condition called dim light, that I'm seeing this snake now. Otherwise, snake is not there. And also, we were helped on the journey by some aptavakyas, people who have already known it is not a snake, it is only a rope. They say they are passing by and they say, no, 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 don't be afraid, it's only a rope. Don't be afraid. So we have all these put together, we are able to investigate thoroughly. Similarly, with all the blemishless status of the mind achieved now because of all the other external activities like puja, japa, dhyana, and all that we have talked about, or breath control, whatever, nishkamya karma. We have come to with the help of this mind. When we now observe the feeling called I intensely, this is what is Bhagavan has told when it is sought thus. From where does the I arise? So our focus is uninterruptedly considering only the rising I. And the I suddenly disappears. So when you keenly focus your attention, since I is not there, it falls off. And we have seen in the 20th sloka of Upadeshasaram, it falls on its own because there is nothing else. Even this I, like the snake in the rope, was never ever existed. It is only in our current state of ignorance due to avidya that we think that there is something called mind. All the individuality came about, the entire universe came about, and all that. All because of the avidya making us not to focus, not to do vichara. Where vichara is not there, avichara will automatically creep in, and with the help of avidya, and the entire creation comes about. And now in this turn, in this song, Bhagavan says, with that blemishless, having gained the blemishless mind, and if I turn back the mind to keenly inward to see where this I comes from, having entered within and knowing one's own form, one becomes still in you. One is now merged. This is what is meant by a river when it flows all the way and it reaches the sea, ocean, and it merges in the ocean. After that, it has lost the individuality called ocean, called river. It is only ocean and ego. Like this, the individuality called ego is gone. And only the self-effulgent I, the pristine, pure Satchitananda, shines forth. Now this ego is irrecoverably blended with the I, the original I. Just like how the river beautifully merges off with the sea, and nobody from there has the capacity to segregate the river to the state where it was before merging. It is destroyed. It is consumed. Similarly, we will be consumed in such a fashion. So this is the marga of jnana, which Bhagavan summarizes in this third song as requested by Kavyakanta Ganapati. Ahamiti kutayati yanvishyanta pravishtayathyamaladhiya avagamya svam rupam samyatyarunachala divabdhau. Now, based on the request by Naina, Bhagavan now goes about to teach the Raja Yoga Marga, which he wanted also. So the fourth song opens up. Tyakva vishayam bahyam ruddha pranena ruddha manasam tasvam dhyayan pashyati yogi dhiditi marunachala mahiyante. The split of the song is Tyaktva, having given up, Vishayam, objects, Bahyam, which are external, Ruddha, Ruddha is restrained, Pranena, Pranena is the breath, Ruddha, again, restrained, Manasa, the mind. So the breath, and when the breath, as we have seen, when the breath is restrained, mind is also getting restrained. So two riddhas are used here, one to represent the prana, the other to use the mind. By mind, antah, within, tvam, tvam is you. Dhyayan, having meditated like by means of controlling the breath and achieving a state of purity. Now a dhyana is taking place. Pashyati, sees. yogi, the yogi. Dhititim. Dhititim is light. Arunachala, oh Arunachala, Twayi. What does he see? He sees you sees in you, in Twayi, in you, in Arunachala. Mahiyam, or exalted. They means they, those people. So the whole meaning goes like this. Oh Arunachala, having given up external objects and having meditated upon you within by a mind restrained by the restraint of breath, the yogi sees the light. They are exalted in you when they see the light in such a way. Now, this has got a lot of connection with the previous song itself, with the Jnana Marga. Only in the Jnana Marga, it is said through the purity gained due to the and due to our constant practice of whatever we do. Ahamiti kuta ayati tenvishyanta pravishtayatya amaladhya. Like amaladhya, like how the entire lamp becomes amala, becomes removed of all the blemishes. Similarly, here also the same process is there, but there through concentration and through focus of of the turning the attention inward and feeling and looking at the eye, it is achieved. The same thing is replaced here by means of breath control. But you have to understand there are two steps given here. The breath control is one, and having restrained the breath, you got to meditate upon within yourself. So Bhagavan has brought in, even though Naina wanted the process of Raja Yoga Marga, he gave it is obviously recommendation is clear here that the Raja Yoga Marga, that is the breath control, will take you up to the process of restraining the manas. The blemishlessness of the manas is achieved. But after that, you got to necessarily do the path of self-inquiry as taught by Bhagavan. But Bhagavan is using different language here, that's all in this sloka. After reaching there, even in one of the slokas in Upadesha Saram, we saw when we were reading Raja Yoga Marga, through the breath, because breath is controlled, restrained, the manas also goes into a state called Manolaya. It goes into a temporary purity, state of purity, like the Manolaya that we achieve every day during deep sleep. But if we stop at that point, it will come off. When the period is over, or when the breath is being restrained by the practice of pranayama, the mind will be under control, calm. But when the process of pranayama stops, the mind will again issue forth and go back to its worldly activity. Bahirmukha, it will go off somewhere. Why this process cannot necessarily achieve the ultimate destruction, Manonasa? Like Bhagavan gave the story that Bhagavan gave. There was a rishi sitting in the banks of a huge river and doing tapas, and he was feeling very thirsty. He immediately summoned one of his disciples. Go fetch me, I'm very thirsty, go fetch me some water. And the disciple goes to fetch the water. Before the disciple could come, this yogi, because of his constant practice of meditation, and he was sitting in meditation also, goes into a yogic samadhi, a trance kind of a state, where his manos becomes laya. And he's in that state for a long time. Nobody knows. Hundreds of years, they say. And when he wakes up, with full force, with full energy, the thought called, where is the water? I'm thirsty. Is the first question he asks after lapse of hundreds of years. By that time, the entire banks in which he was sitting, that river has completely changed course and gone somewhere else. Nobody knows. That village, the kingdom, everything has changed. But his thought is still there, emanating, rising only from this one thought. He wants water. This is what is the danger of Manolaya. If we leave Manolaya at that stage, it will come back, it will go back to its, with the same force, it will go back to the external world. This is why every day after getting from the pristine, beautiful state of Manolaya obtained during deep sleep, we are coming out because our samskaras don't leave us, they wake us up. Samskaras which have gone to the bija form in the deep sleep, they issue forth. because the mind has already taken sufficient rest. It wants to come out of the Manolaya. And when it comes, immediately all this happens. So Bhagavan recommends in this, when you attain through breath restraint such a state, in that song in Upadesa, in the air also, in Upadesa Saram also, he said, don't stop there. Immediately focus your attention on that one thought. And when you do that, especially now that your mind is free of content, it is already in the state of laya. It's just about trying to come out of that laya state. At that state, be vigilant, catch hold of the mind, and put this question: Who? Who is this I that is trying to rise up? Immediately, because of the strength of the mind at that time, it will vanish. The mind will get destroyed once and for all. So Bhagavan says in this, even though Rajamarga is being taught as a tool to go into the state of Ruddha, due to the Ruddha process of prana, the Ruddha of mind is achieved, and after achieving, meditate. Is what Bhagavan here broadly says, meditate. After having given up external objects, having meditated upon you within. So he makes clear, within means what? Again, we are going to the same who am I marga. Focus on the I. You have obtained a beautiful state of mind. Now put it into use and destroy the mind once for all. Is recommended in this song. Based on request by Naina, this fourth song was also given. The song we'll sing the song one more time. Tyakva vishayam bahyam ruddha pranena ruddha manasam tasvam dhyayan pashyati yogi diditim arunachala tvayi mahiyante. So, having he becomes one the yogi, when he does this, becomes exalted because he's merged with Arunachala. The 15th song of Upadesa Saram. When you achieve that state, there's nothing more to do. So obviously you're going to be in a state of permanent bliss. See, once we elaborate and study all the works of Bhagavan, everything will be interconnected because Bhagavan is always talking only about one subject, nothing else. The language, the intensity, or the audience, they can be different. But the truth is never gone otherwise, explained, never otherwise explained. Everywhere, if you extrapolate, if you kind of understand the sloka, tear it into threadbare and see the same surrendering onto the I will automatically come forth. So, that is Bhagavan's teaching we'll have to understand. The techniques adapted for certain cases, in certain cases, may be different. But that does not take the core concept of Bhagavan's teaching away. So, this is the fourth song. The song Bhagavan goes out to say. He talks about the path of a lover, a bhaktiman, a lover of self, a lover of God. He talks in this sloka. He says, Tvayarpita manasatvam pashyan sarvam tava krihitaya satatam bhajateranya pritya sajayatyarunachala tvayi sukhe magnaha. Tvayi, in you, arpita, surrendered, manasa, by the mind surrendered, tvam, you, pashyan, seeing, sarvam, all, everything, tava, your, akrititya, as form. That is the form that we see outside. Satatam, always, bhajate, who worships with what? Ananya, with otherless, without anything else. The Bhagavan's Ananya Marga. Pritya, by love. Sa, this he, Jayati, triumphs, wins over. Jayati, Arunachala, Twayi, in you. Sukhe, in bliss. Magnaha, having drowned. This is the meaning of the split words. The sentence this sloka reads, O Arunachala, seeing you by mind, surrendering in you, he who by otherless love always worships everything as your form. triumphs, having drowned in the bliss in you. See, the marga that we learnt in Karma Yoga and the marga that we learnt in Bhakti Yoga both are rolled together in one. Like if you see anything as without Anya Bhava, you are seeing everything with Ananya Bhava. Like we have seen that in sloka elaborately in Upadesa where it is said that I and Arunachala are one and the same. It is initially, it takes the root form of Soham Bhavam. I am not other than he. And when the process steadies, when it becomes mature, more and more mature, what happens? I and Arunachala are one is known without any effort on my part. Automatically, I am always feeling I'm Arunachala only because I've hit the state of Ananya. I've matured into the Ananya Bhavam. So like that, and he says, if one sees all the form that they see in the world as you, we say Ashtamurti Bhriddeva Pujanam. So all the Ashtamurti or anything that I see in this world, anything that I hear, anything that I taste, anything that I smell, anything that I feel, all this is nothing but one of the eight forms or combination or many or all the eight forms of the Lord. So if one, a Bhaktiman, if full of love, priyam, if he sits back and does and sees everything, thinks everything, whatever comes to his mind is only Arunachala, without any difference, and also when he without this Anya Bhava, he practices Ananya Bhava, and due to this Ananya Bhava, he merges with Arunachala, and there is nothing but pure bliss at that state is being talked about in this fifth sloka. O Arunachala, having seen you always by mind, which has been surrendered in you. See the Bhakti Bhava's culmination. By surrendering, he who without otherness, without the state of being in the state of otherness, loves everything as your form. Ashtamurti Brit triumphs, having drowned in you, who are the form of bliss. So in this song, Bhagavan gives the Bhakti Marga route to achieve the same state. Again, this Bhakti is only a platform that is laid because based on this Bhakti, you will be easily, with this kind of mind, a process of merging into Arunachala takes place. Bhagavan has said there are always only two ways in which you can reach the selfhood. One is by inquiring who am I, or the second is by totally surrendering everything unto Bhagavan, unto Arunachala. In this song, he talks about that complete surrender. So what happens? What is the meaning of complete surrender? Surrendering of mind. What is surrendering of mind? The process of focusing on the I and ensuring that the I perishes. That same thing we are achieving here using bhakti as the method. There we achieved using our keen attention on our own self as the method. Now, the method being talked about here is pure surrender unto the feet of Bhagavan, unto the feet of Arunachala. So, he says once somebody does like that, he will drown within you, which is nothing but bliss, full of bliss. So, this method is used now. Tvayarpita manasatva Pashyan sarvam tavakri hritaya satatam bhajater anya pritya, which we can be in Sanskrit when we chant, we say anya pritya, but if you have the possibility, you can call it ananya pritya. Sajayatyarunachala tvaisuke magnaha tvayarpita manasatvam Pashyan sarvam tavakri hritaya satatam Bhajateranya pritya sajayatyarunachala tvaisuke magnaha. So with this, the main portion of Arunachala Pancha Rathnam comes to an end. Based on request by Nayana, Kavya Kanta Ganapati Mune, Bhagavan composed these three songs on a particular theme. The first two songs he composed Because he was asked to sing some song in the meter called Aryavritta or Giti. He sang those first two songs. But we can, the entire teaching of Bhagavan, all the margas as taught by Bhagavan, now you see the condensation of Upadesasaram itself. Upadesasaram itself is a small work. But even that in these three songs, the entire marga, the first three songs are Karma Yoga Marga, the next 5 or 6 songs are Bhakti Yoga Marga, then few songs Raja Yoga Marga. So the first three margas are covered, Karma Bhakti and Raja Yoga Marga, and then from song 16 onwards till the end of the work, we saw it is Jnana Yoga Marga. Here, 3 slokas, Bhagavan has given the whole thing. If you sit back and understand word for word and ruminate on the words written and on the concept, on the subject, you will understand everything the same way you read Upadesasaram, you read Ulladu Narpadi, you read Atmavidya Kirtanam, you read all other works of Bhagavan. Bhagavan has got the ability to expand it to the extent needed or to shrink it to the extent needed. I have not seen many other gurus who have this ability. He can be brief, or brevity can be the like Anoraniya Mahato Mahiya. Bhagavan can go to Anu. He can go to the atom. He can be like atom. Mahat. He can be the greatest of great. Bigger than universe he can write, or he can do. Or he can shrink. Anoraniya Mahato Mahiyam. That is Bhagavan. Only a Paramapurusha, a self achieved, yourself. Only the Brahman can ever do anything like this. Brahman is always called Anuraniya Mahato Mahiyam. He is the atom for the tinier than atom, larger than the largest you can conceive of. That is Bhagavan. Having graciously completed the 5 songs, we'll see the last song written by one of the devotees, Daivarata. Daivarata was his given name. He got his name. His name was, I think, he came from Pune. His name was Gajanana. His original name was Gajanana. And he lived with Bhagavan for some period of time. And this, he is also one of the disciples of Kavya Kantakanapati Muni. He learned Sanskrit from whatever, a lot of things he learned from Naina. So he concluded, he wrote one verse, Srimad Ramana Maharsher Darshanam Arunachalasya Devagira Panchakamarya Gitau Ratnam Vidam Upanishadam Hi. It's the song. Srimad Ramana Maharshi, of Ramana Maharshi, Darshanam. So literally see, revelation, or you can see in this term, revelation. Arunachalasya, of Arunachala, Devagira. Devagira is Sanskrit. The language Sanskrit is meant by Devagira. So Arunachala, Devagira, Panchakam, the 5 verses, Arya Gitau, in Arya Giti meter. The portion, the poem given in Arya Giti meter. Arya Gitau, Ratnam, gems too, indeed. Idam, these, Upanishadam, Upanishadik, he is for sure explicitive. It's an expletive. So these 5 verses in praise of Arunachala, which are a revelation, a darshanam of Srimad Ramana Maharshi by means of Sanskrit in Arya Gita meter, are indeed Upanishadic gems. Is declared by Daivarata as a concluding praise of this Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. Srimad Ramana Maharsher Darshanam Arunachalasya Devagira Panchakamarya Gitau Ratnam Tvidam Upanishadam. Thus ends the Arunachala Pancha Rathnam. A gem worth by all of us to commit to memory only 5 songs. Commit to memory and chant every day to bask in the unending bliss of Arunachala Ramanam, of Arunachala. Oh Ramana, Arunachalam, Arunachalam.